Hi there, I'm Bonnie McGuire, and this is assignment 9 for my Human Resources class. The purpose of this assignment is to discuss ways in which employers can avoid legal action when they are training their new employees. The assignment also wanted me to discuss situations that may result in legal actions, and this table can be found on page 391 of our textbook. These situations are failing to provide required training or providing inadequate training, incurring employee injury during a training activity, incurring injuries to employees or others outside the training session, incurring breach of confidentiality or defamation, reproducing and using copyrighted materials in training classes without permission, excluding women, minorities, and older Americans from training programs, not ensuring equal treatment while in training, requiring employees to attend training programs they may find offensive, revealing discriminatory information during a training session, not accommodating trainees with disabilities, and incorrectly reporting training as an expense or failing to report training reimbursement as income. The best way to avoid legal action is by ensuring that your training is available to all new employees. Make it mandatory. As far as making sure that individuals with medical disabilities or handicaps have access to the training facilities, the best way to do that is either to have the training facility located on the ground floor of the establishment or make sure it's accessible by an elevator. As far as the room itself goes, make sure the room either has no steps in it or has a ramp so that individuals with wheelchairs can access the facilities. With regards to things in the room, I would make sure there's plenty of space for an individual with a wheelchair to navigate. Make sure they have plenty of space at the table to lay all of their materials out and have room for their wheelchairs. This is also good because not only will it accommodate individuals who have wheelchairs, it will also accommodate individuals who have walkers or crutches or canes. So all in all, I think if you make sure that if the room is easily accessible and that there's few obstacles in the way and that the room has a ramp, these will be reasonable accommodations for individuals who have handicaps. As far as discussing anything that people might find offensive in the training itself, I don't really know that I've attended any trainings that contained offensive materials. I think the only thing that might be mildly offensive is the sexual harassment portion of the training. But that's one of the most important portions of the training because there are many, many things that people can do to inadvertently offend someone else. And most sexual harassment policies cover every nuance of those. So perhaps at the beginning of your training, make sure that there's a legal disclaimer on the training materials themselves saying that although some individuals may find this material offensive, it is mandatory learning. Either that or announce prior to the portions that some people might find offensive that you are going to be covering some potentially offensive material. Allow these individuals to leave the room while you're discussing this material, and then they can come back when it's over. As far as making the training accessible to all employees, as I said before, I think it should just be mandatory to all new employees. And as far as discussing anything that might be considered taboo, like stuff that should not be made public. I know that when you're training new employees, you talk about having, certain scenarios in the workplace. The best thing to do is make sure that your scenarios are just that, generalize as much as possible. And maybe the best thing to do would be to use training videos that you've pre-screened for these portions of the training. That way, there's nothing potentially offensive in there. Because you want to make sure that the individuals get the point of the training that you're trying to make and that you don't unintentionally upset someone. As far as, things that might offend people in the workplace, a person's attire, if they're just inappropriately for the workplace, could easily offend someone. Make sure you discuss all of that when you're going over the dress code policy for your company. Make sure you lay down every item that you don't want to see a person wearing in the workplace. What I mean by this is like tattoos, facial piercings, excessive makeup, appropriate grooming, conservative attire. Make sure you cover this portion for women as well as men. That way nobody feels singled out and everything is covered. What else? Reproducing materials. Okay, with reproducing materials, I would either A, make sure you have the permission of the person who produced the materials so that you can copy them as many times as you want, or make sure that your documents are original to your company so that you can reproduce them as many times as you want without first having to gain permission. That'll help you avoid any potential legal action there. And other than that, I would just say make sure that your training program is comprehensive. Make sure that your human resources professional is up to date on all, legal issues, legislation and laws that relate to harassment, the Americans with Disabilities Act, the sexual harassment stuff. It's all changing all the time and it needs to be updated constantly. So if you make sure that your HR people are on top of that, and if you make sure that your employee handbook gets updated as conditions changed, and that you're updating your training accordingly, I think you'll be just fine. So thank you for your time, and hopefully this covers it.